What is going on, everybody? This is Mike from the Last Corvette. So today is a different type of a video. I'm actually installing a UV light into my HVAC system here at the house. So anyway, it's made by Field Controls. This is UV Aire whole house air purifier. Now they do make two different models. One is a 24 volt supply, one is a 120. They have a 120 volt model here. Long story short, it's pretty simple to install. The only difference, if you have a 120, you can either tap 120 or install an outlet. If you have a 24 volt, you can install the transformer and basically achieve the same thing. So it seems to be like the thing to do. And the way you install it, ideally, you want to install it on the supply side right above the coils, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm clear of the exhaust, I'm clear of everything. They call out about 30 inches from the top of the furnace, which puts you clear of your coils. If you're not sure, you can always take a couple of covers off just to make sure. Obviously dead center, 30 inches on center. It does come with a template, and you keep the template because there's a couple of things, instructional basically pictures on how to remove and change the bulb, also the date of install. And let me explain something to you. So you can do it on the supply side, which is ideal. You can also do it on the return side. And if you were to do it on the return side, you would want to do it, same thing, about 30 inches up or lower before the filter. So you can do it here, you can do it here, or on the back side, whichever one is easier to do. Don't ever do it next to your exhaust. Things will get hot. But like I said, it does come with a template, and I'm gonna basically break up this video and show you guys everything. So you put the template in right on center, right at 30 inches. These holes here are your mounting holes for the outer bezel. This is where your light is gonna actually go through on center. This hole here is for your pilot, or basically a view hole or a viewport to see if the light is on. Now, what's interesting about this setup, which I found interesting anyway, is it stays on all the time. So you don't put it on the timer, you don't put on the switch, or you don't wire it to your thermostat or to your blower motor. So they don't want it to basically kick on and off. They just want it to stay on. Now, in the kit, you get all the screws, you get that template right there. You also get this heat shield. Now, this heat shield is only appropriate to install, which would pretty much go right through this hole here. To protect the light if you had a heat source. I don't have a heat source there, so I'm not going to use this heat shield, and wait for part two. All right, so we got the bezel installed. As you can see, the 4 pilot holes that I drilled for the bezel screw are in. This is the little viewport. Basically, it is just to see if the light is functional and on and working, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually install the bulb into the housing, which is right here. It's a twist lock, okay? So it goes in like so, and then you twist it clockwise. Now, with these UV bulbs, what you want to do is you want to wear gloves and also wipe everything with alcohol, which is provided. There's a little alcohol pad or a strip. So I'm going to do that next and show you guys how it all looks. All right, so I got the bulb out. The bulb just basically press fits right into the socket. I wiped it off with a little alcohol pad there, and now it's time to actually put it into the housing. And it's simple as just twist locking it in place. Let me show you how that's done. All right, so the unit is in. Literally, to remove it, as the instructions say, you would take this base and go counterclockwise, basically turn it 90 degrees and pull it out if you were to service it or change the bulb. And then you do the same thing. You bring it in horizontal and then turn it to 12 and 6 o'clock. So now let's figure out the power situation. All right, guys, so we reached a point where I'm about ready to wire this unit in. So as you can see, I got the fascia or the bezel on. I got the main, we'll say, socket or power supply to the bulb twisted in. There is a safety switch, meaning if you actually have power going to it and you go counterclockwise to pull the bulb out, it's going to kill the bulb. So that's actually pretty cool, so you don't hurt your eyes. All right, so anyway, I got power going over. down right through this grommet, which if you don't have a grommet, you can go through. There's usually grommets on side of furnaces anyway. I put a decal over here just to let the next person or whoever works on it know that the system is installed. Now, if you come over here, this is a little interesting. So I have basically a box delete, even though there's a switch there, on and off switch, main switch for the furnace, kills power to the furnace, not to the breaker. So before you start working on electrical, I know what I'm doing, but it's best to disconnect or just set your breaker, and that way you have no power going to it. So as you remember, this is a 120 model. Here's your regular 3-prong plug. You got hot, neutral, and then you obviously have a ground. Okay, so what I did is I came through the side of the furnace. This is the main junction box. This is where your power comes in. This here is a switch that cuts power off to your furnace when you're servicing it or working on it or doing whatever to it. So don't connect to the switch. And the reason the switch is behind this lockout box is because my kids kept turning off the furnace, and well, you know, it either gets hot or cold depending on the season. So as you can see in this box here, you have a ground, you have your white neutral, then you have your hot right there. So I'm going to take green to ground, hot, and then neutral. So I'm going to splice these in utilizing the wing nuts that are in the box already. I'm just going to strip them back, get them connected, and show you guys the finished product. All right, so I got the power ran, I got my ground, my neutral, and my hot all twisted together. This is the cable feeding the ultraviolet light. Let's take a look at it again. So now it's just, well, you got to turn the power on, put the cover back on, and fire everything back up. All right, talk to you guys later. All right, so the power is on. I just turned the breaker on. As you can see, this is your little sight glass. Let's see how it looks inside. Yep, there you go. And now all I have to do is just clean up the tools, put the front cover on, and obviously it's summer, so the AC is going to come on, the blower is going to come on. But yeah, anyway, to capture this whole project is, I got the unit. Like I said, you can either get 120 or 24 volts. I mean, if you deal with 120 or 24 volts, it doesn't matter, I guess, whichever one you want. I would just go with the 120. If you're not sure what you're doing, hire a HVAC specialist or electrician. But, you know, like I said, it comes with a template. I'm going to fill all this out. They say to replace the bulb, I want to say, yeah, every year, annually. Comes with a template. Just pick a side, make sure it's centered, 30 inches above. That way you clear the coils. Or you can do it, like I said, on the return side as well, instead of the feed side, somewhere before the filter. And you'll be in good shape, and I'll report back as far as how the system works. But, you know, it takes about an hour to install. It's just all about prep, drilling holes, installing the bulb, and then obviously running power. And the main important thing to remember is when you do route your cable, regardless if it's to a outlet or wired to the furnace, make sure you leave yourself some slack, because when you do replace the bulb, you want to make sure you have enough cable to actually pull this, I think it's 14 inches or maybe 16 inches bulb out. So you want to have some slack. All right, talk to you guys later, and I'll report back on how well it works. Once again, UV Aire whole house air purifier. That's it.